What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here, and to be quite honest with you, I've tried to record this video 10 times already, so we're going to keep it short, we're going to keep it to the chase, and I'm not going to mess it up this time around. So anyways, left-hand side, daily time frame, right-hand side, 30-minute time frame. We're going to do an analysis on the broad market. If I didn't say that already, we're going to cover SPY the Qs and IWM. On the SPY daily, what do we have on the docket? Clearly a break of the resistance trendline and a candle close up at the highs of today's session. Both of those things strike me as being a bullish implication. What else do we have? Clearly trend reversal to the upside, right? We have lows, higher lows. We can now afford a higher low pullback. In an ideal world, it happens above 429. That's fantastic. But more importantly, think about our highs and what's unfolding from that perspective. This was our last set of lower highs. This was the set of lower highs that preceded it. Notice that today's candle has closed above both of those levels. So this is a significant higher high on this rally off of the lows here, right? Out of the breakout of this balance area. So because of that, again, we can afford a higher low pullback, and in an ideal world, it's above 429. I do think that there is possibility that it either holds at 437 for something that does this, or 433.50s for something that does this. Let's explain both of those levels here on the 30-minute time frame. 433.50 simply because it's the top end of yesterday's resistance, so that was Wednesday, and then it's the base of the afternoon spike from Wednesday as well. This morning, we hold it on the open. There was a bit of an opening range as it broke out and then pulled back for the first time in the day. We clearly respected that level. So to me, 433.50 could be on the docket. And then why 437? Well, not only from the daily perspective was at the top of the prior range, it was support from in here. And if you remember this balance area, I know it was a very long time ago now, there were some intermediate levels, or excuse me, intraday levels in that section as well, around 437. Notice what happened on today's session. It's the high of the morning. So there's your resistance. We pull back, break it, and this little lower wick, although it's a little bit nuanced, is a higher low pullback into the afternoon that's respecting 437 as newfound support. So I like that level as well. So just to sort of wrap up a couple of scenarios here on your SPY 30-minute time frame, consolidation here above 437, probably the most bullish outcome. That would also look like a daily bull flag that starts to form over the course of time. Maybe it's breakouts into the future. We don't know for sure, but it's speculation, right? If we take out 437, just keep an eye on this level right here for all the reasons we mentioned earlier. Resistance from yesterday morning, base of the spike, respecting it on the first aggressive pullback today, 433.50. If we get something that looks like this, again, that still constitutes bull flag consolidation here on the daily. Maybe it breaks out over the course of time. And then if that one breaks, it's all about 429. Then I would reevaluate the chart just to see what other types of setups are potentially unfolding. To me, it would start to become a break and retest. So maybe it's longs here at 429 on the deeper pullback if we start to see hammer candles that print or any indications of support coming in at prior resistance. And remember also, it was the bottom end of this range as well, right? So 429 critical area that I would probably look for pullback reversals to if we get the deeper, more aggressive pullback. If we get the more shallow sort of consolidation move, I would wait and be patient for more of the breakout style trade and not necessarily try to buy the pullbacks in those areas, okay? So that's the SPY in a nutshell. Let's continue along and talk about the QQQ. What do we have going on in NASDAQ 100 and tech world? Clearly, again, a break of the resistance trendline. We talked about this yesterday over on the main channel, but a move that has now closed inside of this area of balance from right here. Again, a bullish implication. We do not have the significant higher high that we have in the SPY, but we do have a higher high, right? So here is the set that we've broken. Here's the higher high. If it was a significant higher high, it would have been a candle close somewhere up here above this last set as well. We don't have that, but it's not the end of the world. We still can afford a higher low pullback, but I don't want to give it as much wiggle room here in the QQQ. So instead, I'd love to see it do something like this. There is no support trendline to really monitor for, so a higher low needs to be put in at this point in time. Notice that we had equal lows down here instead of the higher low that the SPY already has. So we need a little bit more proof here in the QQQ that the trend is ultimately going to reverse, and we don't get some sort of fake out where we have highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. If this just immediately turns around into Friday and continues lower without producing a higher low, then it's nothing more than another lower high. If we get all the way down here, that's fairly concerning. Again, based on how we've closed today, based on breaking the resistance trend line, based on closing inside of here at the highs of today's session, I don't think it's a likely outcome for tomorrow's session, but of course we need to consider all of the possibilities. So to keep it simple here in the QQQs, any pullbacks that form need to respect this level at 335 quarter. If that happens, that's more of the bull flag scenario that we talked about in the SPY. Again, be patient, wait for the breakouts. There's no real pullback to to buy at this point in time because we don't have that set of higher lows from in the past, right? So we need to see a little bit more evidence of that before trying to buy the pullbacks, and instead wait for the breakouts, okay? From the 30-minute time frame, what else can we learn about today's session? Anything impressive going on here? Let's go ahead and clean some things up, okay? This level, 340, yeah, it was the bottom end of the balance here, but notice that it's not really too important from an intraday perspective. Instead, this level, oops, let's grab the other tool and try that one more time. Here we go, and I also like that it's coinciding with that. Look at that. Thing of beauty here. So zooming back in, this is the equivalent of the resistance from the SPY and then the base of the spike into yesterday's afternoon. We hold it on this morning's pullback as well. It's the equivalent of that same structure, right? That level is 338 here in the QQQ, so an ideal pullback for consolidation is somewhere in here. Give it a little bit of wiggle room. We know 335 quarter is acceptable as well, coming from the prior highs. If that breaks down, so if 335 quarter breaks down, it really, I'm not that excited about the reversal here in the QQQs if we give that up, simply noting that we're back down inside of this chop and consolidation range. You could even start to call this a bit of a look above and fail. I mean, your first target's going to be 329, but ultimately it's just the bottom end of the balance again. So, QQQ, although we did close strong at the highs, if you're looking for longs, I think we have more confidence right now in the S&P 500 instead of the NASDAQ 100, right? Let's continue along and round out our broad market with the IWM Russell 2000 and the small caps. What do we have going on here? Again, snooze fest, kind of just stuck in this balance area, certainly approaching the top end right here at the resistance trend line on the daily now. So we'll see. Can we get some sort of breakout here that at least attempts 208? I would imagine we get a higher low pullback after that, since we've essentially had the coming up from the bottom phenomenon, right? If we make it all the way there, it would be expected that the buyers need a little bit of a breather, and then any reattempts after a higher low could be attractive for a move back into the weekly range, right? I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's just that's the number, right? It's as simple as that here in the IWM. Nothing dramatic really happens until we close above 208 and get back into this weekly structure up here. Until then, we're just stuck in a little range. And I mean, to be quite honest with you, IWM has been extremely boring, just really sideways in this overall range. It's like there's been more downside in the SPY and the QQQ, which is fun and tradable, but the IWM is just the most choppy of them all. I mean, look at how many same-size bodied candles are just stacking side by side by side, right? So maybe this will get exciting if we can get some sort of break of the resistance trend line, move to 208, higher low, and then get back into that weekly balance over 208. If we reject here and roll back over, ideally we pull back and hold 201. That starts to form a bit of bull flag consolidation like this. If 201 breaks, it's kind of off the table, not really looking for anything in IWM, to be quite frank with you, because we would be smack in the midpoint of the overall range, and we know that your edge does not exist in the midpoint of any given range. So that's what we've got in the broad market. If you enjoyed today's video or learned anything new, let me know in the comments section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description. We will be going live tomorrow at 8:50. And with all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.